The concept of memento mori fascinates me. Thinking about your own death, not about how I would die, but what people would say of me when I'm at the end of my life. It's a great exercise to think how I can reverse engineer the life I really want without blindly moving forward. J.R.R. Tolkien wrote this short story called Leaf by Niggle. It's a weird name, I know, but Niggle was this painter and he wanted to create this masterpiece of a tree. So throughout his time, he meticulously painted this small little leaf. And day in and day out, his neighbors would come and distract him and ask him for certain requests, like, hey, can you help me out with this? Can you help me out with that? And he'd be like, sure, I'll help you out. And throughout that time, he actually caught an illness. And he was on his deathbed thinking to himself, oh no, I'm never gonna paint this tree. All I have is one leaf. And so Niggle actually passes away and he's taken into the afterlife. However, in the afterlife, he is shown this magnificent golden red tree, and it's the tree that he's been dreaming of painting. So that's the finished version of his masterpiece, and I want to live a life without regrets. I want people to know on my deathbed that I was a kind and generous man and I made an impact on the world. Still got a long way to go at 29 years old. And if you asked me 10 years ago of what I wanted to be, I would have said I'm a digital nomad, I've made millions off of my business, I have this hot wife, and I get to travel the world. I haven't hit that. I'm still single, I've traveled the world quite a bit, and I'm not yet a millionaire. But that's what I want to share in this video. I spent a lot of money on working with coaches, mentors, reading a lot of books. I want to help you understand this place of not feeling content with where you are yet. That there's this now and not yet feeling of not arriving where you're supposed to be. And it's okay. All of us are feeling it. So I want to share the things I found most helpful in this video today with resolving this tension. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Wesley and I help busy professionals like you get 10 plus hours of their time back with developing healthy habits and rhythms. In today's video, I want to help you get the healthy mindset and habits to live contently, to be content with where you are. Even though you're feeling like you're not supposed to be, I want to tell you that this is exactly where you're meant to be. Let me give you some tips on why. Let's begin. I have led a toothless life, he thought. A toothless life. I've never been into anything. I was waiting, I was reserving myself for later on, and I've just noticed that my teeth have gone. This was a quote by French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre. A common regret most people made on their deathbeds was not traveling enough. I took that seriously because I want to live a life with no regrets. That meant when I turned 20, I should see as much of the world as I could. At age 29, I can say I've done that. I haven't explored everywhere, but I've explored quite a bit of North America, Europe, parts of Asia, and parts of South America. Obviously, there's still so much of the world out there to see, and I'm content with not seeing it all. The lesson I've learned from traveling is that novelty is important to slow down time. I get stuck into my rhythms. I take my rituals and routines quite sacred. That's when I notice time passing by so quickly. Like, I've often thought to myself, man, it's already May of 2026. Where did the time go? I just get in the cycle. But sprinkling a little novelty through traveling has helped me slow down this time. Getting new experiences, such as new sights, new tastes, and new smells. There is this awe and wonder that comes with traveling. However, at age 29, I feel like that magic has slowly faded away. I feel like there's a diminishing return on effects of seeing, smelling, and hearing different things. All in all, like, new sights in South America are still just kind of the same as new stuff in Asia, just with a different twist, I feel. Like, there's cool mountains, and I'm gonna see another cool mountain, for example. And so that's why there's like a diminishing return on effects, because there's only so many times I can be wowed and amazed. I feel like traveling has helped me push me out of my comfort zone to grow and become a new person, to learn different cultures and to interact with different human beings who think differently. So there's so many lessons to it. However, age 29, I'm talking like a boomer now, I am slowly decreasing my interest in traveling, because the key thing that I've learned from traveling is that it halts momentum. I want to find the balance between having my routines, but also still having this novelty in my life. And I've been able to do that recently. I'm fortunate to live in the Bay Area of California, where it's super diverse. I am exposed to so many different cultures and people's different beliefs that the world comes to me. I get to stick with my routines. I don't have to take 10 plus hours of plane rides or bus rides or train rides anywhere. I have so much around me that me and my friends, we go on like road trips together, like day road trips, 2-hour drives to go to the beach, to go to a national park. It's all there for me. And that's the lesson I've learned, is that routines are going to carry me forward, like atomic habits. Becoming 1% better every day is going to move me forward. I'm going to grow 37% year over year by sticking to weightlifting, eating healthy. But it's so hard to eat healthy and exercise when I'm traveling. My routines are just thrown out the window, and it's so hard to adopt a new routine and then come back to it when you're done traveling as well. And so for me, I found that I can still sprinkle in some adventure on the weekend. And the same can go for you, that this lesson is to sprinkle in some novelty. It doesn't have to be a grand getaway. I'm sure there's so much out there around you, even if you live in the middle of nowhere where it's just like all plains. I think having that creativity to go out and figure out what's interesting around you is going to draw this adventure out of you. And so the lesson I learned is to sprinkle a little novelty on the way. It's going to make a life a lot more fun. In contrast, and equally important, my next tip complements that. There are people in this world who need to be told what to do in order to do it, and there are other people in this world who are doing everything and need to be told to slow down. I fall on the latter. I shaped my life to become busy, and because early on I believed that being busy meant I was important and brought value to this world. I don't believe what you do is entirely who you are, but I do believe what you do is who you become. I'm a man of many hobbies, and most of my hobbies are activities my friends introduce me to. I'd say I'm a social athlete. I do a lot of these activities because I want to be with people, but I have a hard time doing them alone. Like rock climbing is one of my favorite activities. I love doing it with friends, but I wouldn't do it solo. However, I do feel each activity shapes who you become. So with rock climbing, for example, I feel like it's physical problem solving. I'm specifically bouldering, so I'm doing with no ropes, and just going on a rock wall, it's just me versus the wall. And I'm trying to figure out where can I place my hands and my feet to figure out this problem in front of me. And over time, I feel like it's helped me become a better problem solver. I don't have to do like math puzzles to become a better problem solver. I can try to solve things with my body that way. And in turn, it tunes my mind to figure out how can I use my body to solve this problem. And sometimes there are some out of the box thinking that happens. There are some routes I've done in climbing where I shouldn't have used my knee, for example, but I did end up using my knee and it worked. And I was able to complete the route because I thought of a really out-of-the-box solution for it. It worked for me, so that's all that matters. One way I grow as a person is by doing these new activities. It shapes who I'm becoming. With rock climbing, I'm becoming a better problem solver. With boxing, I'm doing one-on-one boxing lessons with my friend from church. I'm becoming a lot more disciplined and more gritty on days when I want to give up and not do the workout. He pushes me even harder than I can believe in myself. And I know when I continue to get older, I'm still going to stack more hobbies and more hobbies because I'm just going to compound into a completely different person by the end of it. That's my journey of personal growth. And another thing I've learned in personal growth is the ability to say no. So in my friend group, one of my friends, he really struggles with FOMO. I've seen him crack under pressure when he said, "Hey, I can't make it to Korean barbecue, guys. I have a practice to go to." And then we were making plans for Korean barbecue. We didn't call him out. We were just making plans. And he's like, "All right, guys, I'll go." And so he completely compromised his practice because he wanted to hang out and not miss out on Korean barbecue with our group. For me, I've learned at age 29 that it's okay to miss out. I have what's called the joy of missing out, and I am okay with how my life is unfolding. I think it helps that I can't see what people are doing on social media. I can't compare my life. I am content with having tunnel vision of looking at my own life right now, and I am okay with having some Saturday nights where I just rot in bed and watch UFC or whatever. I know that's okay for me. That's how I live my life. I enjoy living that, and I'm not letting life pass me by. So all of these hobbies, all of these activities that I'm doing is shaping me. It's helping me grow into a better person. And that's what I love about being older, is I can't wait to see who I am becoming next. So you may not know where you're going, but who you become will shape the way where you're going. This leads me on to my next tip: taking care of what you already have. Earlier this year, there was this ESPN article written by Ramona Shelburne on why the Buss family sold the Los Angeles Lakers to the owner of the LA Dodgers. So when I was reading it, I was just shocked. So in 1979, how the Buss family got it was the patriarch, Jerry Buss. He bought the Los Angeles Lakers because he wanted generational wealth for his family. And after he died in 2013, Jeannie Buss, third child, the first daughter, she took over the family company, started running it. And in this article, it revealed multiple coup attempts from the other siblings to gain control. It was so sad to see that there's just so much infighting happening because they wanted control of the Los Angeles Lakers. So in order to save their family, they sold the business. During the pandemic, I moved back home to be close to my family. Incidentally enough, I've saved a lot of money. I'm lucky enough to have a great relationship with my parents that I don't have to pay rent. I have a lot of food. I have so little expenses just with living with them. I call it my unfair advantage of being able to live in the Bay Area rent-free. I'm not a millionaire yet. It's one of my goals to become a millionaire by age 30. I'm almost at age 30 and I'm not even close. But I'm way ahead of my own peers in terms of my personal finances. And I've used this time of living with my parents to pay off my student loans, paid off it entirely in 2 years. And this extra time and money that I'm saving, I'm spending it on courses and coaches to invest in my YouTube channel, for example, and building this business that I have of coaching busy professionals. This is an advantage and opportunity that I cannot take for granted for. I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi is my financial philosophy. It talks about being intentional about where your money is going. If you're wasting it on a subscription you're not using, for example, just cut it out. Or if you take a close look at your finances and see where your money is going. And one of my coaching clients, for example, he wanted to find ways to save more money. So we looked at his finances and he realized that he was spending a lot of money on food. However, food wasn't the problem. He dug even deeper. He found that he was eating out way too much, but the problem was, it wasn't eating out with friends, it was eating out solo. He realized that he loved eating out with friends. Food for him was a way to bond with other people. However, he found that he was eating too much solo. So he wasn't really bonding with anyone. He was just spending a lot of money on Chipotle. And once he realized this, he started meal planning. And with meal planning, he had meals throughout the week and he was sufficiently fed that way. So once he wasn't hungry, he didn't have to eat out solo. So now he budgets food for people and building relationships. That's the philosophy I have, is being intentional with the money. Be happy with where every dollar is going, and this desire to be a millionaire is there. After reading the ESPN article, I'm not so sure generational wealth is the goal anymore. Being a child of an immigrant, it motivated me to kind of repay back my parents by building a business, creating generational wealth, and blessing them. However, my dad is 70 years old, and I realize time is short. I'm not going to spend much time with him. My dad never wanted money. All he wanted was time. He wanted me with him. And I'm the oldest of 4 children. I am now seeing my younger siblings grow up and be adults. I felt so sad being in college, being away from them, that I missed some high school graduations. I wasn't a part of their lives. But in this past 5 years, I got to be a part of their lives. And it's been such a special moment being with them. Just take care of what you have, whether it's money or family, just take care of it. This leads me on to my 4th topic, which is about people you love. I thought I'd be married by now, and it's okay. I'm sure a lot of people are saying that nowadays because the average age of men and women in the 1990s was 25 years old of getting married, but now the average age of becoming married has become 29 years old. You could blame social media, dating apps, and other evolutionary psychology trends. I had my first relationship at age 28. It was a wonderful whirlwind romance, and it taught me what it was like to truly be in love and care for another person. All that to say, being single is quite difficult. Being on dating apps just suck, and at church we're taught that singleness is a gift, which is true. I'm now spending a lot of time writing scripts, making YouTube videos. It's still a difficult journey. It's only in hindsight when I can realize and say that it was a gift. Best thing that I've learned is relationships don't have to be exclusively romantic. My quality of life has been so great because of the people around me. My family, I have a wonderful church community that I'm really plugged in. I'm still in touch with my friends from high school and college. All of these relationships have kept me sane. So even though I don't feel like where I'm supposed to be, I wanted to be married at age 28, and that's okay. That has already passed. But looking at my life right now, it's so rich with having healthy relationships with my family, with my friends from college and high school. By the time that I meet my future wife, I cannot wait to share with her this wonderful community that I have with her. So for those that are feeling single and lonely right now, this is a gift too. Continue to invest in the people around you and just watch the joy in your life flourish. This leads me to my last tip about contentment. Lars and the Real Girl is a 2007 film where Ryan Gosling plays this man that fell in love with a blow-up doll. It wasn't in a creepy way. Some may have seen Lars as delusional, but the small town treated the doll the same way he treated her, like a real human being. The doctor would check on her blood pressure, the ladies at church would get her hair done, all in a way for Lars to be less dependent on the doll. This community met Lars where he was. They didn't mock him for loving this doll, but they embraced him. My Christian faith has been my bedrock. When poop hits the fan, I go back to my Christian faith. I believe that Jesus Christ died for my sins and resurrected so that I may have the life that he deserves. I have my own delusions that don't involve falling in love with a blow-up doll, but that's the same type of love that Jesus embraced me with. And J.R.R. Tolkien was also a man of faith, and going back to The Leaf by Niggle, I believe that God has the power to take what we feel is incomplete and make it whole. The pressure isn't on me to make a huge impact on this world. Like, I've had a dream to create this nonprofit to serve the poor, but all of it stems from this moral insecurity because I want to show that I matter to this world. I don't have to do that. The pressure is off of me. Just like Niggle only painting a leaf while he was on Earth, he created a tree in the afterlife. I want to do the same. The impact that I do on YouTube, through the people around me, it will multiply and have a huge effect throughout the afterlife because I know God's with me. A book I'm currently reading is Unreasonable Hospitality by J.R.R. He's the owner of 11 Madison Park, and he took it from the 50th best restaurant to the #1 most best restaurant in the world through what he calls unreasonable hospitality by giving people more than what they expect. So for example, his restaurant is in New York City. There was a Spanish family visiting the restaurant one day and it was snowing. And the family mentioned to him like, hey, it's the kids' first time seeing snow. So he was like, oh. And so he had the idea of purchasing a Uber XL. They bought some sleds and they took the family to go sledding in Central Park. That's the same type of love I think God has for us. He shows this unreasonable hospitality enough to send his son to die on a cross so that we may have eternal life. So whether you believe in Jesus or not, I believe faith has made me content with a lot of things. Putting my belief in this higher power, I trust in who this divine being is. That I believe he has a way, and most importantly, I believe that this weight isn't on my shoulders. It's on God's shoulders. My shoulders aren't big enough to carry and impact the world, but God's shoulders are. If you feel like you aren't where you're supposed to be, remember, you're not alone. You're exactly where you need to be, and you're meant for a bigger purpose that's coming soon. I know I can die a happy man right now, and I'm on the way of becoming and staying a happy man. Till that day comes, I'm not gonna stop hitting all the goals I want in life. I still want to be a millionaire, I want to be a big YouTuber, and I want to make an impact in a lot of people's lives. So I'm still going to aim for that. But in the meantime, I want to conclude with what I shared with you to sprinkle a little novelty in your life. Continue to take action, steward your finances, invest in relationships, and maybe even begin a relationship with God. It's okay to feel like we aren't where we thought we'd be, but that feeling should drive us continually toward our goal of becoming a better version of ourselves. So thanks for watching, and if you're interested in taking a next step toward your goal, you can click down below to schedule an intro call with me and see if you're a great fit for my program. And if you find yourself struggling to make hard life decisions, you can click here to view my latest video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.